Hey everybody, Zary in the air. Welcome back to the podcast. Thanks for being here. This is a YouTube channel, but you know what I mean. Sometimes I get mixed up, what I'm recording. If you like podcasts, check out the Area in the Air podcast. It's available on platforms and you'll probably like it. Anyway, today I want to talk about how to actually get better at paragliding. We all want to become better pilots, to fly safer, to fly higher, further, longer flights, better flights, more maneuvers. But especially in America, we get our P2s and then we're kind of just thrust out of the nest, expected to kind of self-regulate, self-teach. It would be great if we all had a mentor who knew us and was very experienced and cared for us and could watch over our progression, but that seems to be the exception rather than the rule. So, how do we know where we are in our progression? How do we create a more structured framework of how to think about and move through learning to paraglide? How do we become experts? In this episode, I'm going to give you my thoughts on how to actually get better at paragliding. Ready? Here we go. Okay, I'm making this episode because I've gotten this question over and over from you guys. If you are watching this video and you get something out of this channel, great. I'm so happy to hear that. That's why I make it. If you want to support me in continuing to give back to the paragliding community, consider supporting me on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. That's like buying me a beer after our monthly paragliding flight here on YouTube. And that really helps. The link's in the description below. So, like I said, a bunch of people have asked me this question: how do I actually get better? How do I structure it? So I want to tell you what I think here, and I think that it starts with a roadmap. How do we make this roadmap? Well, any roadmap is only effective if you know where you are, right? Some guy giving you directions from starting somewhere else doesn't help at all. So the first step here is to know where you are in your progression. And this isn't always easy to do by ourselves. We need the insight and reflection of other pilots, the people who know us, and the people who have gone through the progression to help us understand where we actually are. Most of us haven't seen the full spectrum of paragliding skills. We haven't been to Europe. We don't know Pal Takish. We don't know how good he really is. We don't know how many hours Raul Rodriguez has actually flown, and we don't know what kind of skills the top level tandem pilots in the world have. Those things are beautiful gifts and were life-changing for me when I went to Annecy and I saw how good people were and saw a 14-year-old kid launching an Enzo and stalling it. I was like, oh wow, paragliding is a lifestyle for people in the rest of the world. America, not so much. We're kind of cowboys out here. So there's a lot of different metrics that we can use to gain insight as to where we actually are in our paragliding progression. The first, most obvious one is: how many flight hours do you have? How many flight hours do you have in the mountains, flying cross country? How many 100-kilometer flights do you have? How many 200-kilometer flights do you have? These are not just things to brag about, but they are indicative of where we are in our paragliding, okay? Can't argue with results. If you got 50 hours, the chance that you're an expert is 0. You can't be an expert at 50 hours. You can't be an expert at 100 hours. You can't be an expert at 200 hours. It doesn't work like that. I thought I was an expert at 200 hours. I did. I really did. I thought that. Turns out, no, I wasn't an expert. I was mired in intermediate syndrome. So, and like I said, this is something that we need other people's reflections on to verify or adjust where we think we are, because we're often wrong about that on either side of the spectrum. Sometimes we think we suck when we're actually displaying good skills. Sometimes we think we're so good. The next step that I think is really important is to kind of get down to the why. And this starts with increasing our sensitivity of the way paragliding makes us feel, the ways that we would like to feel through paragliding. And when you make a plan or you do the work on this part, it looks like introspection, it looks like reflection, it looks like integrating our flight experience into ourselves, and it looks like making meaning out of our flying career. This really helps us acknowledge the level of risk that we're taking in paragliding and trying to align it with the level of risk that we think we're taking, and also make meaning out of the level of risk that we're taking, because we have to acknowledge that we're taking risk here in this sport, and how consciously we're doing that is really important for us to make a plan as to where we're trying to go and how to get there, right? Not everyone is trying to become a competition paraglide pilot. Not everyone is trying to become a professional acro pilot. We all have different goals here. And so getting down to what our own motivations are in paragliding is really important. The next step is actually making a plan for your flying career. And this starts with setting goals. Like, what do we want to learn? Those are both short and long term. What are we trying to learn this season? What are we trying to learn on this flight? What are we trying to learn in the next 5 years? Where do we want to go? Do we want to start competing? Do we want to become a tandem pilot? Do we want to become an instructor? Do we want to do acrobatics? There's all these different ways that we can paraglide, and not everyone wants to paraglide in the same way. We're all very unique. The plan itself will look like technicalities, like kinds of exercises to practice while you're kiting, things to practice while you're flying, the types of courses that you need to look into, whether that be SIV or XE clinics, the types of knowledge that you should be gaining on the ground, what you should be reading, who you should be listening to on YouTube, all these different things. Everybody's different, and everyone's going to need a different plan. We all know that kiting's important, but what specific kiting drills you need to be practicing to improve the skills that you're trying to work on depends on you. We all know that SIV is important, but like, what maneuvers should you be practicing to fit your skill level and where you're trying to go depends on you. So making this plan is really important. We got to know where we're starting. We got to know why we're doing this at all. And we got to make a plan, set goals so that we can take small steps towards reaching our paragliding progression goals. I think that I can really help you with this. I've started offering one-on-one coaching calls to my top tier patrons. You can become a top tier patron, or you can email me at airyintheair@gmail.com, and I can help develop what I've started calling a P4, which is a personalized paragliding progression plan, so that you and I can work together to understand where you are, understand where you want to go, and make a roadmap so that you can start taking steps to improving your paragliding, to making you a better pilot, a safer pilot, flying higher, further, longer, better flights, more maneuvers, and also make more meaning out of it. Feel more fulfilled by your paragliding so that you're not on the rat wheel treadmill of trying to get the fleeting drugs that paragliding can give us. So, like I said, I'm offering those for free to my top tier patrons, as well as free Airy in the Air paragliding gear. So head over to Patreon or email me at airyintheair@gmail.com. I look forward to helping you guys with that. Thanks so much for watching this video. I got lots more good stuff coming. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.